What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the build room for another Monday night Logan Built product highlight. Tonight we're going to talk about my pride and joys here, these 47 48RE full race transmission builds. I happen to have 3 of these builds in the shop right now that are all in different stages of life, so I thought it'd be a good time to talk about the different race options that we have and what we're capable of doing for many different applications. So let's jump into each of these things and talk a little bit about them. So all 3 of these builds here share some similar characteristics, one of which you'll notice right away is they're all finished out in this raw case look. This is something that I try to do to all of my race-only type builds. Sometimes not all cases will clean up good enough for it, but if you send in a case that's in good enough condition, I definitely take the time to try to finish these out in this raw look. One, it's a nice appearing look, easy to clean, easy to keep clean, doesn't scratch when you're pulling and installing these things, but really the big reason behind it is for the heat dissipation. Anytime you paint something, it's going to hold heat, so I try not to paint any of my race stuff, so that way it's easier to cool between rounds. You'll also notice these holes that I drill in the bell housing here. These holes are 2-inch holes, and these are for converter cooling as well, to help cool the converter off faster between rounds. You stick a fan up under the inspection cover plate here, help circulate air in and out the holes of the bell housing. This transmission here, you can see, does not have those holes, and that's because this is primarily a dirt drag truck, and with the environment that the dirt drag truck is in, it's a lot dirtier, a lot dustier. I don't put the holes in those just for the fear of getting them packed full of dirt and mud. So aside from the case and the converter cooling holes, all 3 of these transmission builds are 48s. All 3 of these transmissions are trans brake with aluminum direct drums. The aluminum direct drum is an in-house only deal. The trans brake is set up very specifically to these setups, so this is all in-house only type of stuff here. The first transmission is one of my personal favorites. This is a non-lockup that I just built for a customer. The customer went with my flex plate shield as well for added safety and compliance. The non-lockup builds, we run a standard size Sonex input shaft. You can get away with the standard size Sonex input shaft no problem because you don't have the shock load of lockup. Helps keep the cost of the build down a little bit. These also have a dump valve, which we can only do currently with the non-lockup. This is the most reliable setup, in my opinion, that you can get. This particular customer is new to drag racing. He was a sled puller in the past. He's bought a really nice 4,500 pound Pro Street style 590 style truck, and which he is going to start off index racing with. And this transmission is the best transmission for getting out there, just being able to make laps, learn your setup, and you can still go really fast with this. This is the exact same combination that is in my personal truck. This is the same combination that we had in JP's truck when we ran very low 5s with it. Very versatile. We have a lot of different really good stator options to fit a lot of different builds. This is my go-to transmission for anybody that is running any sort of index or is new to racing or just wants something that they can go out and just make absolute laps in. And then this transmission here is a little bit of a different variety. It's still a 48 trans brake, aluminum direct drum, same base build as the non-lockup over here, but as you can see, we have a Sonex 35 spline input shaft in this, and that is because this is actually a lockup transmission. This transmission actually had a gear and bolt together converter for it, and the special thing about this transmission is actually set up as a 3-speed. So it was mechanically overdriven, so that makes your first gear ratio a 169, your second gear is a 1-to-1, and then third gear is overdrive 0.69. So this transmission was actually a 3-speed as opposed to the factory 245, 145, 1-to-1, 0.69 overdrive. That's not something that I'm a big fan of. I don't really like the gear ratio staggering like that, but this customer was really adamant about trying it, and we have the ability to do it, so we made the proper modifications to accomplish that. This transmission is actually in to get kind of decommissioned for race use and be made into a street transmission. The customer has since stepped away from racing after he bought this transmission in 2021, and he wanted to keep it because it has really nice base. It's a really nice 1500 horsepower street transmission. We just need to change some things out of it, get it back to a 4-speed. This will be a really nice unit for him to run on the street. And then this transmission, very similar to this one, aside from this being a 4-speed. And the interesting thing about this transmission is this is actually behind a Duramax. So this is what they call a Duraflight swap. It has a gear and bolt together converter as well, lockup converter as well, trans brake, aluminum drum, all the good race goodies inside. And this one here is in for a refresh, getting ready for the next season. Like I said, he primarily dirt drags this truck. Dirt dragging, in my opinion, is hard on a transmission because they hot lap them so much. Really, this is the one time where the cooling holes are pretty important, but when you're in a really dirty, nasty environment like that, I could see the dust and dirt packing around the converter and causing more harm than good as far as cooling goes. So this transmission isn't getting anything different. It's got all the latest, updated stuff, ply regulated lockup. Anytime we do a lockup transmission of this caliper, it always gets a ply regulated lockup. Basically what that means is we regulate the lockup apply pressure to 180 psi, so that way there's no chance of ever ballooning the converter. And then because that's separate from mainline pressure, we can still run the 210 psi that we like to run in this race stuff, and we don't have to worry about ballooning a converter, hurting the pump, possibly hurting crankshaft or a thrust bearing inside the engine. So that's a little rundown on these 3 builds here. All 3 at a little bit different stages of life. This is a new unit heading out to go to battle. This one here is being taken out of the war. It's seen its days. It's going to go out to pasture, being a nice little 1,000 horsepower street truck. And this one here is getting built back up and ready to go back into service for another year of dirt dragging and abuse. If you guys like what you see here, you want to learn any more about these full race builds that I offer, you can hop over to the website to www.getloganbuilt.com. There's an itemized list of everything that comes in these, different options that are available. There's some options that aren't on the website, so if you have something kind of custom like that Duramax deal, if you're going in a swap, you have questions, concerns, questions about trans brake stuff, feel free to give me a call, 859-466-7737, or if you want to shoot me an email, you can shoot that over to info@getloganbuilt.com as well. Just happened to have 3 nice race builds in here and wanted to take a few minutes and show you guys what, between Gearin and I, what we are capable of giving you guys for full race builds. So that's all I got for this one, guys. Thanks for watching. If you're new here, click the subscribe button, hit that like button. Helps us out with the YouTube algorithm to get this content out to more people. And we'll catch you next time.